जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Radhe Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajakaacharya Ashtottara Sata His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Ki Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai Shri Shri Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Bihari Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Very happy to be back here amongst all of you. This is my first program in the UK on this visit. I think it is, yes. So happy to see all of you here again. And guess what? I'm going to speak on the topic of God. Don't say, oh my God. We're going to talk about a few definitions of God and then discuss one particular definition a little more in detail, so that we all become very well versed with what our goal of life is. We are supposed to become pure devotees of Krishna, so we should know who is God, why is he called God. Yes. So if someone were to ask you, what is the definition of God? How would you answer in one sentence? The simplest, easiest definition. The person doesn't want a lecture, just wants one sentence. Yes?
God is supreme.
God is supreme. Okay, that's good, but not so clear.
Supreme personality of Godhead.
Oh, so such difficult words to understand. Supreme personality of Godhead. Yes.
You just say it's Krishna.
Krishna, who is Krishna? What is Krishna? I'm just a newcomer, I don't know anything.
He's all powerful.
All powerful, okay. Yes.
All attractive.
All attractive, yes, that's a very good definition. Every one of you has given the right answer, it's not wrong at all. But the most fundamental definition, really, from a philosophical point of view, is that he is the source of everything. God is he from whom everything emanates. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes that he is the one from whom everything emanates, and therefore he is God. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattaha sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddhabhava samanvita. I am the source of all the material and spiritual worlds. Everything emanates from me, and one who knows this worships me with devotion. Those who are intelligent, those who are wise, they know this, and therefore they all become my devotees. So therefore, the most fundamental philosophical definition of God, in the simplest, is that God is the origin and the source of everything. That's all. So therefore, there is no question of a sectarian God. There is no question of a God belonging to one caste or creed or community or religious faith or anything. God is that one entity. Now, whether he is attractive or not, whether he is a person or not, whether he has this name or not, comes later. But fundamentally, the source of everything can be one, not two. Therefore, you can't have one source of everything according to one religion or one understanding and another source according to another religion. That's not possible. There's only one absolute truth. So this is one very fundamental definition. So the other definition that God is all-powerful, yes, definitely. He's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, yes. He is all, what was the other definition you said? All attractive, yes. Krishir bhu vachakah shabdo nashta nirvitir vachakah tayur aikyam param brahma Krishna vidhiyate param brahma. So he's param brahma, he is the supreme absolute truth, and the word Krishna means the all attractive one. So the Lord is all attractive, yes, but another God is also called Bhagavan. Why is he called Bhagavan?
He has all the opulences.
He has all the opulences. Bhaga means opulences, and Van means one who's full of. Like Vidvan. Vid means knowledge. Van means full of, one who has. Vidvan means a knowledgeable person. So Bhagavan means one who has all these opulences in perfection. So Srila Prabhupada defined or described God in various ways at different times in his teachings. So today I'd like to focus especially on this one definition of God as Bhagavan. Sometimes Bhagavan, the word in the Srimad Bhagavatam, also refers to very powerful personalities. But generally, strictly speaking, the word Bhagavan is reserved for the Supreme Absolute Truth, and that is Krishna. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya yashasahasriya jnanam vairagyayos-chaiva sannam bhaga itingana. So this is a very fundamental definition of who or what Bhagavan is. Bhagavan is he who possesses all 6 opulences in completeness, in perfection. And what are those 6? Those extraordinary things that he has. Aishwaryasya samagra. He is the master of all types of opulences. Aishwaryasya samagrasya viryasya. Vir, he has exceptional strength. Yasha, fame. What next? Shri. What does Shri mean? Beauty. He has exceptional beauty. And then the next one? Jnana, which means knowledge. And finally, Vairagya, which means renunciation. So let's discuss each of these a little briefly. The first one is opulence, his wealth. Of course, in this world, people seek wealth. But that wealth is chanchala. Chanchala. Chanchala means very fickle. And we know that. Wealth doesn't last for very long. And today someone's a millionaire, tomorrow the person could be on the streets, today someone is very poor, tomorrow he could be very rich. So wealth comes and goes. Wealth is personified by Lakshmi Devi. And Lakshmi Devi's name is Chanchala, which means she who is very fickle. She doesn't stay long at any one place. So wealth cannot stay for long with any of us or any human beings or any other entities of this world. She stays for some time, if at all, and then she leaves and goes somewhere else. And even if we do have some wealth for the time being, it's only that, only for the time being. And very, very small quantity. As they say, even a beggar is proud of his penny. Yes? And even the richest millionaire, the wealthiest person in the world on earth, is also like a beggar compared to the denizens of the higher planets, compared to Brahma. What to speak of Krishna? So Krishna's opulences, Krishna's wealth, we cannot even conceive of it. As Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhokta Ram Yagyatapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, Suhridam Sarvabhutanam, Yatva Mam Shanti Vrichyati. He says, I am the proprietor of everything. The richest man on earth may be a proprietor of many, many factories and buildings and have much gold and shares and all of these things. But ultimately, it's a very, very small fraction of the total wealth of this entire world, of the entire creation. So Krishna is the master of all the wealth conceivable, all the possible wealth. Actually, it is all his wealth. But somehow or the other, due to ignorance, we start claiming this is our wealth. And when Krishna descends into this world, he exhibits just a tiny fraction of his opulence to indicate who he actually is. When he was in Dwarka, he had 16,108 palaces. Each of them was gorgeously decorated and with all sorts of precious stones and gold and all of that. Unimaginable wealth. So much so that even when Narad Muni, who's traveled everywhere, who's seen everything, when he came to Dwarka, he was astounded to see this wealth of Krishna. He was also astonished to see that Krishna was simultaneously present in each of these different palaces at the same time with his different queens. But just looking at the opulence of one palace, Narad Muni was so amazed. He could see that this one palace had more wealth and opulence than the entire universe. So Krishna's opulence is inconceivable, his wealth. Even in Vrindavan, as Rupa Goswami says, even the ankle bells of the gopis are Chintamani. They're made of touchstone. Chintamani prakara satma shukalpa vriksha lakshavriteshu surabhira vipalayantam. So the gopis of Vrindavan, in their spiritual bodies, they have anklets even which are Chintamani. Chintamani means priceless jewels. So even in Vrindavan, even though it's called the place of all sweetness, and Vaikuntha is the place of opulence, nevertheless, the kind of opulence that is there in Vrindavan is unmatched, even more than in Vaikuntha. But this opulence is eclipsed by the sweetness of the love of the Vrajavasis for Krishna. Therefore, we don't often talk about the opulence of Vrindavan. When we talk of opulence, we talk of Dwarka or Vaikuntha. But factually, even in Vrindavan, there is opulence that is unlimited, mind-boggling opulence. When the Vrajavasis got together at one point after Nanda Maharaj had been rescued by Krishna and brought back, when Nanda Maharaj had been kidnapped by the servants of Varuna, a very interesting exchange happened. You see, Nanda Maharaj had gone to take a bath in the Yamuna on the day of Dwadashi, but he was too early. And because he took his bath way before the prescribed time, so the servants of Varuna arrested him under the water and they dragged him through the water to the abode of Varuna, the deity of water. And the Vrajavasis were all worried, but Krishna, being omniscient, knew what had happened. So he dove into the Yamuna and swam straight to Varuna Loka within the water. And as soon as Varuna saw him coming, he was astonished and surprised, and he offered his respects. And then he realized the mistake that his servants had made in arresting Nanda Maharaj and bringing him to his abode. So he begged forgiveness and he worshipped Krishna lavishly. And Nanda Maharaj was watching all this and he was struck with wonder. His little son was being worshipped in such a grand way by the great demigod Varuna. Nanda Maharaj his heart swelled with pride. My son is being worshipped like this. Just like any parent feels very proud when their children they get a lot of respect, a lot of wealth, a lot of position, etc. So Nanda Maharaj, being Just like a father of this world, his heart swelled with pride, but he was also astonished. How come my little son is being worshipped by Varuna like this? Varuna's kingdom was really opulent. And when Krishna brought Nanda Maharaj back to Vrindavan, and they all asked Nanda Maharaj, what happened? Where did you go? And Nanda Maharaj explained everything. And all the Brajabasis were hearing with bated breath. You went to Varuna Loka. Oh my God, yes. Please tell us what you saw there. So Nanda Maharaj began describing the opulences of Varuna Loka. And the simple village folk of Vrindavan, very innocent, they also were struck with wonder. And then when Nanda Maharaj described how Varuna had worshipped Krishna with all sorts of paraphernalia and so gorgeously, the Brajabasis were really struck with wonder. So in their hearts they started thinking, maybe how nice it would be if we would also get to go and visit Varuna Loka and see, all those nice opulent places. Just like some people in a village, in a country that's not very wealthy, they want to go to the city, and then they see the huge multi-story skyscrapers and all the opulence in the big cars and everything, and they get struck with wonder. And they come back to the village and say, especially it happens in India. In England there's not much of a difference except the crowds and the sanity. But in India, the villagers will go, see all these big buildings and big cars zooming by, and all the people dressed in fine clothing and everything. So similarly, the Brajabasis, they were looking at Vrindavan with familiarity. So they thought Vrindavan is just a village. We are all village folk here, and because they had been accustomed to this beauty ever since their birth, so they didn't think anything exceptional about it. But they wanted to go to Varuna Loka. So Krishna, who was omniscient, understood what was going on in the hearts of the Brajabasis. So he said, oh my dear devotees, in his heart, Krishna was thinking, they are here in Vrindavan. They don't recognize the opulence of Vrindavan, and they want to go to Varuna Loka. Varuna is just my tiny insignificant servant. And what is the opulence of Varuna Loka compared to that of Vrindavan? So I said, all right. So I should show them my mercy. So he took them to a place on the bank of the Yamuna, a place called Brahmarada. Today, that is a place where Akrur Ghat stands. Where Akrura, when he was taking Krishna and Balaram to Mathura from Vrindavan, he stopped there to take a bath in the Yamuna. And that's where he saw Krishna and Balaram turning into Vishnu and Shesha. So at that spot, Krishna brought the Brajabasis, and by his mystic power, he gave them a vision of the entire spiritual world, the Vaikuntha world. And they also saw Goloka Vrindavan. And they saw all the beauty and the opulence of Goloka Vrindavan. And then they realized, oh my God, this is our Vrindavan. There's no difference between the Vrindavan we are staying in and that Vrindavan. Then they understood their fortune, that the opulence of Vrindavan was no less than that of Varuna Loka. On the contrary, Varuna Loka was insignificant compared to Goloka Vrindavan. So Krishna made his dear devotees understand where they were actually living. Familiarity breeds contempt. So we also sometimes tend to take Krishna consciousness very lightly. Yes? But we should remember actually what it is that we are doing. So Krishna's opulence is unmatched. His wealth is unmatched. So that is Aishwaryasya Samagra. The next is Viryasya, Virya. Virya means strength. In the Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami describes one who has extraordinary strength as Baliyan. One of the 64 qualities of Krishna is that he's extraordinarily strong. So he's called Baliyan. And Krishna's extraordinary strength is seen or is exhibited not just when he was, in his adult life, so to speak, but even as a child. Srila Prabhupada mentions that even as he was a baby in the lap of Putana, he actually killed her. He sucked out the very life airs from her, and it was so painful that the very life airs they came out, and then eventually she ran into the forest, and she had to assume her original form, which was 8 miles long, and effortlessly Krishna killed her. Now, Krishna's power does not depend on his age. It does not depend on his circumstances. When a human child is just born, the child is very weak, has practically no strength. And the strength keeps on increasing till the age of youth or middle age. At the peak of youth, the strength is at its peak also. And then after that, the strength and the stamina and the energy, everything gradually begins to diminish. And in old age, once again, we become weak. So this is seen. Our strength varies according to our age, according to our health, etc. But for Krishna, there's no change. Even though he was a small baby, he was as powerful as when he was with Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He was as powerful as he was when he killed so many demons like Shishupal or Shalva, Dantavakra, Viduratha, etc. Or when he killed mighty demons like Ravana, Kumbhakarna in his various incarnations, or Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. There is no difference. So his strength is immeasurable. And Rupa Goswami explains in the Nectar of Devotion that when Krishna killed Arishtasura, the gopis were looking at it in amazement. And they said, just see, Krishna killed Arishtasura just as if he were a ball of cotton. He just destroyed him, just like, you get a ball of cotton, it's so easy to lift it and throw it around. So Krishna was toying around with Arishtasura before killing him as if he was just a ball of cotton. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Vrindavan, he was performing parikrama of Govardhan Hill. And when he first saw Govardhan Hill, he fell flat to offer his obeisances. And he chanted many beautiful verses in glorification of Govardhan. And one of the verses was, Vamas tamara sakshasya bhujadanda sapatuvaha krida kandukatam yena nito govardhano girihi. The meaning of this verse is that may the left hand, Vama means the left side. Tamarasa means a lotus petal. Aksha means the eyes. So Tamarasa and Aksha is the one with the lotus eyes. That is Krishna. So may the left hand, Bhujadanda means the hand. So may the left hand of Krishna protect all of you. Vamas tamarasakshasya bhujadandasa patuvaha. Patu means to protect. So may the left hand of Krishna protect you. Why only the left hand? Why not the right hand? Because it was with the left hand that Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. And even then on the little finger of his left hand. How did he lift Govardhan? Krida kandukatam yena. Like a toy. Like a child lifts a toy effortlessly. Children sometimes lift toys and they throw it around here and there. So Krishna just effortlessly lifted the Govardhan hill. Sometimes it's also mentioned that he plucked Govardhan off the floor, off the ground, like one would pluck a mushroom or a flower from the earth. Effortlessly, like a toy. Krida kandukatam yena nito govardhano girihi. So that's the way he lifted Giri Govardhan. So such extraordinary strength. Now, for the Lord to lift Govardhan hill is not something extraordinary. It is extraordinary because for us it is impossible to do. Even to lift a little stone for us is very difficult. So therefore, by human estimation, lifting a hill or a mountain is something exceptionally extraordinary. So when Krishna lifts the Govardhan, he's called Govardhan Dhari, and everybody praises him and glorifies him. But Krishna can lift, what to speak of mountains, he's already lifting and floating in the sky millions of not just planets but universes. So as Ananta Shesha, he holds up millions of universes. Imagine the weight of all of these. So this is his strength. And even this is the exhibition of just a very minute fraction of his strength. So therefore Krishna's power, Krishna's strength is inconceivable. Every aspect of Krishna is inconceivable. And Krishna, having these 6 qualities, is there to an inconceivable degree. So his wealth, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya, and his physical strength. So Balyan means one who has extraordinary bodily strength. And Balaram, of course, is not just physically strong, but he can give us spiritual strength. One time in Vrindavan, Srila Prabhupada was looking at the Krishna Balaram deities, and he told the devotees, pray to Krishna to get spiritual intelligence, and pray to Balaram to get spiritual strength. He didn't say pray to Balaram to get physical strength, because spiritual strength is more important than physical strength. Physical strength is there only for a short time, but spiritual strength is more important. Then the third one is Yasha, famous. Rupa Goswami says fame is also one of the characteristics or the qualities of Krishna. And how does he define fame? When one is well known due to one's spotless character, one is called famous. So Prabhupada explains that now see, Krishna consciousness is everywhere. So there are millions of temples in India, plus there are now temples of Krishna everywhere all over the world, and thousands of people come to take darshan of Krishna. So many people know about Krishna. He's the most famous personality. And he's just not just famous now, he has been famous for millennia, since time immemorial. The most famous of the famous kings, their fame lasts only for a short time, maybe a few hundred years, few thousand years, and then they're forgotten. Unless they have some connection with Krishna. Then even if the king is demoniac, he is immortalized in those pastimes in the scriptures. So Ravana, Hiranyakashipu are immortalized. Because we all think of Krishna, whenever we think of the Lord, we think of Ravana, we think of Hiranyakashipu. Every day in the morning we chant Hiranyakashipu Vakshaha. Yeah. When we chant Narsingadev's name, we also chant Hiranyakashipu's name. But Hiranyakashipu has become famous because of his connection to Krishna, because he was killed by the Supreme Lord in his avatar as Nrsimhadeva. But otherwise, there are so many demons like Hiranyakashipu. We have forgotten about them. So many kings have come and gone, big demons have come and gone, and we don't remember them. But everyone remembers God. Everyone remembers these different pastimes of the Lord. And scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam have immortalized the Lord. And he will remain famous. Rupa Goswami very poetically likens the fame of Krishna to the diffusion of moonshine. On a full moon night, the moonlight is very soothing, very calm, very beautiful, and it destroys the darkness of the night. So similarly, everything about Krishna is very auspicious, very pure. So wherever there is Krishna or Krishna consciousness, there will be whiteness, there will be purity. So Rupa Goswami says that by Krishna's fame, everything becomes white and pure. Just like by the moonlight, everything becomes lit up and white. White is a symbol of purity. So therefore, when Narad Muni was singing the glories of Krishna, then Nilakantha, who is Nilakantha? Lord Shiva. Why is he called Nilakantha? He swallowed the poison that emerged during the churning of the milk ocean, and he held it in his throat. He didn't swallow it, because if he swallowed it, not that he would die, Shiva never dies, but it would be a problem, so he just held it there. So there is a blue line on Lord Shiva's neck. But when Narad Muni started glorifying Krishna, that blue line turned white. And Balaram was hearing those glories, and his blue dhoti turned white. And the gopis were busy with their activities in Vrindavan, and when Narad Muni started glorifying Krishna, then the dark Yamuna water turned white, and the gopis thought it was milk and started churning the Yamuna water. So in these poetic ways, Rupa Goswami describes how the fame of Krishna is like the white, spotless, beautiful moonshine, which, when spread everywhere, creates auspiciousness, purity. So Prabhupada says, if we spread the Krishna consciousness movement everywhere, then everything will become white, in the sense that everything will become auspicious and pure and peaceful, and there will be prosperity everywhere. There will be love and brotherhood and sisterhood amongst all the people of the world. Otherwise, the fame of this world is of no value. We're just famous for just a short while, and for those few moments under the sun, people are willing to go to any lengths. But what is the meaning of this fame? What is the value of it? In the time span of eternity, this is just like a speck, a flash of lightning just gone by. So just a few years of fame, and then what are we? If we have committed a lot of sinful activities in this life to get that fame, or even if we haven't, it's a result of our pious activities, still is there only for a short time. In the next life, maybe we become animals, who knows? Srila Prabhupada was not very charitably disposed towards well-known people who were inimical to Krishna consciousness. So sometimes he would use language that was a little harsh. So referring to one political leader in India, he said he's probably born as a dog in Buckingham Palace. No. Not very charitable words, but he was trying to indicate, okay, you're very powerful, you're very big, you're very famous, but what's the use? Next life you may become an animal. What is the value of this fame? Real fame is to become a devotee. This is what Ramananda Rai says. When Mahaprabhu plays the role of a questioner and asks Ramananda Rai many questions, and Ramananda Rai, this is a quick fire, rapid fire round going on, right? You know what's the rapid fire round? Yeah. You ask a question, one, you have to answer quickly. So Mahaprabhu started asking him so many questions. What is the greatest misery? What is the highest fame? So Ramananda Rai was answering quickly. So the greatest fame, he says, is to become a devotee of Krishna. And look at Prahlad, 5-year-old boy, so famous, even millions of years later, we're still talking about him. Even on the heavenly planets, whenever there is any discussion on devotional service, one of the first devotees to be mentioned is Prahlad. So we are talking of fame just in one small place, in a little village or a city or a country or a planet. But there's a whole universe, and there are millions of universes. Then there's a spiritual world. So a little thoughtful reflection will indicate that the so-called fame after which people run like mad in this world has no meaning. So real fame is to be connected to the ultimately famous personality, that is Krishna. So that is Yasha. So Aishwaryasya Samagrasya Viryasya Yashasha Sriya Shriya. What is the meaning of Shri? Beauty. Beauty. Again, people in this world are very, very conscious of beauty, isn't it? I like telling this story that in one of the temples with which I am associated, I came back after a tour, and as soon as I entered the temple, you enter the temple and you have to turn left to go to the deities, way down the corridor, way down the temple hall. But as soon as I entered the temple, right in front there was a big mirror. So I wondered, what on earth is there a big mirror here for? Why have the devotees put that? Then I asked them. So they said, no, there was a Vastu consultant. And he said that, because you're having so many problems in the temple, you're such and such. You put this mirror so people with negative energy, when they come in, their negative energy will be reflected back on them and it won't come into the temple. So they said, we put the mirror there. So I said, well, okay. And then I started noticing that as soon as people came in, instead of turning left and looking at Krishna, they went up to the mirror and they were doing, all of that, checking their clothes and their hair and everything. So I told them, I think, better take this mirror out. We don't need this mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most beautiful of them all? Right? The story? That's what it boils down to. Everybody is so beauty conscious in this world, and the beauty cosmetics industry and all the multi-billion dollar industries. And for one who is bodily conscious, if anything happens to the beauty, there's no misery greater than that. Really. So the solution is to try to not be conscious of so much about physical beauty. Yes, we have to be presentable, neat, clean, that's fine, but not excessively concerned about physical beauty. And the way we can become free from this obsession with physical beauty is to become attracted to the ultimate beauty of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada mentioned in one place that the beauty of nature is a reflection of Krishna's beauty. So many times we see the beauty of nature, we look around, rolling hills, lush green lawns and gardens, and it's very nice, very beautiful, it's sattvic. But instead of getting caught up, yes, it's good to appreciate that, but it is good provided that stimulates us to think of Krishna. So we go from the sattvic beauty, the natural beauty of this world, will help us, we use it as a cue to think of Krishna. If the material world, which is a reflection, has such beauty here, which is a sight for sore eyes, so soothing to the eyes, how much more beautiful must be the spiritual world, and Krishna, who is the source of the spiritual world. So Krishna's beauty is of course described everywhere. He's so beautiful that even he is astounded at his own beauty. In Dwarka, Rupa Goswami says, the palaces were made of jewels. So when Krishna saw the reflection, he couldn't recognize it. Who is this person who's so beautiful? And then he realized, oh, it's me. Yes? So Krishna's beauty is so striking that even he becomes struck with wonder to see his beauty. And there is much that is there said about Krishna's beauty in the scriptures. I'll just make a few references. All of you have heard of the famous Gopi Geet, yes? Which chapter of the 10th canto? 31st chapter. So in this 31st chapter, the Gopi Geet, there is one very nice verse. Atati yad bhavan ahni kananam Trutir yugayate tvam apashyatam kutilakuntalam shri mukham jate jadaudikṣatam pakṣma kridrisham. The gopis sing amongst themselves. Atati yad bhavan, Bhavan, your lordship, O Krishna, the gopis are saying, addressing Krishna, O dear Krishna, when you go, ahani kananam, in the daytime, ahani means day, kananam means the forest. So in the daytime when you go into the forest, atati yad bhavan ahani kananam, trutir yugayate tvam apashyatam. Truti means a fraction of a second. Yugayate means as long as a yuga. Tvam apashyatam. So we don't see you because you go into the forest. The gopis remain behind in the village. They have various domestic chores to do. They have to churn the butter. They have to look after the children. They have to clean the house. They have to cook. And those cows that don't go, they have to milk them. They have to look after so many things in the village. The men used to go out to graze the cows in the forest. So the gopis lament. They say that in the morning, when you leave Vrindavan to go to the forest, we don't see you all day. So every moment or every fraction of a second that we are unable to see you is like a yuga. Now, a yuga is defined or described differently according to the context. Sometimes it may mean 12 years, sometimes it may mean, but in general it means a very long period of time. So the gopis are saying, my dear Krishna, when you go into the forest in the daytime, every moment is excruciatingly painful for us because we are unable to see you. You know, when you're very attached to something, separation from that one thing even for a short time becomes very painful. It seems like a very long time. Relativity of time. Time seems to expand. And when you don't like something, then it seems to stretch on and on and on. Yes? So the gopis are saying, Trutir yugayate tvam apashyatam. Then they say, what? But we are remembering you. So even though physically Krishna has gone into the forest, but he's there in the hearts of the gopis. So they are remembering him fondly. What do they remember about Krishna? Kotila kuntalam Shri mukham chate. Shri means beauty, mukham means face. So your beautiful face are adorned with curling locks of hair. Kotila kuntalam Shri mukham chate. So we remember your beautiful face which is adorned with curling locks of hair. So therefore the gopis are remembering the beauty of Krishna. Kutila kuntalam Shri mukham chate jada udikṣatam pakṣma kridrisham. Drisham means our eyes, udikṣatam. We use our eyes to see Krishna. In fact, that's the only purpose for the eyes. The eyes have no other purpose except for seeing Krishna. But then, this pakṣma krit, pakṣma means the eyelashes. Krit means one who has created them. So this pakṣma krit, that is Brahma. We don't know to which engineering college or medical college he went. But he certainly didn't know how to design our eyes. He's made these eyelids and eyelashes because of which our vision of Krishna is obstructed. Even if Krishna is standing in front of us, we blink. And therefore, we are not able to see Krishna for that fraction of a moment when we blink. So in this way, the gopis are remembering why even as they condemn Brahma, they remember the beauty of Krishna. And they always meditate on that. And that is a source of their greatest ecstasy. So therefore, we also meditate on Krishna's beauty. We will lose the desire to beautify ourselves too much, or to appear to be, very beautiful to others. So gopis are the perfection of beauty themselves. So there's again much about this in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But this reminds me of one Urdu line. How many of you understand Hindi or don't understand Hindi? Raise your hand. Just a few, but I'll translate it. So most of you will understand. You see, in Urdu, it's a language that has much poetry and all that in India. So they had these poetry competitions. They were called shairi. And they would, each one would recite his own composition, and everyone would say, wow, 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 very nice, very nice. So they go on. So there was one person. See, I'm not saying this with any disparaging connotations about any other religion, but it's just a nice one. It's a nice repartee that the devotee of Krishna gave. Therefore, I'm just saying it. This man who happened to be following a certain faith, he said, Islam pe, jise Islam pe unnas nahi, wo to kufar hai. Kufar means a kafir or an infidel. So, unnas means respect. So, whoever doesn't respect Islam is an infidel. So, this one man, he quoted this shairi and he was saying. So, then there was a devotee of Krishna sitting there. So, he said, now I must reply. So, then he composed on the spot a little line. Kale kale ghungriyale baal mere ghanesham ke, jise Islam pe unnas nahi, kufar to wo hai. So I'll explain that in a minute. Kale kale means black, black, literally speaking. Ghungriyale, curly. Baal means hair. So kale kale ghungriyale baal mere ghanesham ke. So Ghanesham is Krishna's name. So he says, my Ghanesham or Krishna has hair which is curling, black and curling, very beautiful. And you see, just as Kutila Kuntalam, his face is surrounded by curling black hair. So he has this curl of hair that comes down like this, like the English alphabet J. It comes down. Now the J in the Urdu script is called Lam. Okay, that's Lam. So this is the Lam alphabet. Just like we have A, we write B, it has a certain shape. So the word English alphabet J, it resembles the Urdu alphabet Lam. So then he said, Islam, referring to Krishna, that those who don't have appreciation for this curling lock of hair, he is an infidel. Yes? Do you understand it?
Yes.
Brilliant poet, right? He has intelligence. You say Islam pe, because of Ghanesham. Yes, Ghanesham, this hair, curling hair, one who doesn't have respect or love for this, that is a kuffar. He is an infidel. Right. So, did you understand? Got it? Those of you who didn't know Hindi or Urdu, did you understand it? Okay. So this is Krishna's beauty. Much to say about Krishna's beauty. So there's nobody like Krishna. In fact, just by being in connection with Krishna, everything becomes beautiful. When Prabhupada went to the West and he created a revolution over there, and people again were amazed. How have you managed to transform these young people? They were so rebellious, they were anti-establishment, and they had a slogan that never trust anyone above 30. That was their slogan at that time. And here was someone who was almost 2.5 times that. And they not only trusted him, they surrendered their life to him, and they transformed their lives so much. So Prabhupada used to look at them and say, see, these people, when they first came, they had long hair and they were dirty, their faces were dull, they were not shining, but now just look at them. They are bright-faced, they are so beautiful, they look so happy, they're shining, they're glowing. They have become more beautiful. Why? Because they have come in contact with the all-beautiful Krishna. So we become connected to Krishna through love, then automatically we will also become beautiful, even physically. But of course, the beauty is more than skin deep. The real beauty of one's personality will come up. That is real beauty. So by being connected to the ultimate beauty of Krishna. I mentioned Chanchala earlier, right? Lakshmi. All the queens of Dwarka are also Chanchala. They are also Lakshmi Devis. And Lakshmi is always restless. She never stays at any one place. But the queens of Dwarka never left Dwarka. Because they were so attracted by Krishna's beauty, they could not leave. So even though otherwise they are Chanchala, they are always moving from one place to another, but they could never leave Krishna's lotus feet because of his beauty. In this way, Rupa Goswami has also elaborated on Krishna's beauty. Then Jnanam, the fifth opulence of Krishna's Jnanam, which means knowledge. Yes, Krishna is all-knowing. He knows everything past, present and future. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjana bhavishyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Veda aham, I know. What do I know? Samatitani, all that has happened in the past. Vartamanani, all that's happening now. Bhavishyani cha bhutani, bhavishyani, all that's going to happen in the future. Bhutani, all living entities. I know the past, present and future of everything and everyone. But me, no one knows. So Krishna is knowledge personified. His knowledge is complete. His knowledge is perfect. So since he knows the past, present and future of every living being, does he know our future? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes? So he knows what you're going to do 5 years from now, exactly on this day at this time?
Yes.
Yes? So then, do you still have free will? What do you think? How? Krishna knows everything you're going to do, not just now, but for eternity into the future. So how do you have free will? Do you? Do you have free will?
Yes.
How many say yes? How many say no? How many are undecided? No, you do have free will. We all have free will. It's limited by various factors in its expression, that's another matter. So the question is, if Krishna knows everything that we're going to do in future, and we don't know it, so how is it that I still have my free will? And the answer is that Krishna knows, but I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do 5 years from now on this day, at this time. And therefore for me it's an unknown. I still have my free will by which I can act in one way or another way. But when we say that Krishna knows, it means that he's aware of how we are going to use our free will. It doesn't mean he's going to interfere with our free will. He knows it. So Krishna therefore is the all-knowing. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smriti jnanam apavanam cha. He is seated in everyone's heart, and from him comes knowledge, remembrance and forgetfulness. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyah. So he knows all the Vedas. By the Vedas he is to be known. Vedanta Krit, he is the compiler of the Vedanta. Vedavid eva chaham. So he knows the Vedas, and the Vedas are meant to realize him or to know him. So Krishna's knowledge is complete and perfect. There is nothing that Krishna doesn't know or can't know. So therefore he is called Swarat, supremely independent. His knowledge is also independent of time, place and circumstance. Our knowledge is limited by time, place, circumstance. Now I'm knowledgeable about certain things, but when I'm sleeping, I'm not knowledgeable. I have no knowledge of anything when I'm in deep sleep. But Krishna is aware of everything at all times, in all circumstances. And that is what the first verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam mentions. And finally, there is Vairagya, renunciation. How is Krishna renounced? Even though he has so much opulence, but he is not attached to it. Sometimes we may be willing to give up our wealth. When we lose wealth, it is painful. But nothing is more painful than losing our reputation, losing our good name. But Krishna doesn't even mind that. He's so renounced. He's so detached. For a Kshatriya, dishonor is worse than death. So when a Kshatriya flees a battlefield, he is condemned. Even today, in the modern armies of the world, if there's a soldier who deserts, runs away from his army, he is called a deserter and is punished and condemned. A very dishonorable thing to do for a soldier. But Krishna went away from battle, and at that time the Kshatriya codes were so strong. He just walked away. Of course, he had a higher purpose to fulfill. He had to start Dwarka Leela. He had to wind up Mathura Leela and start Dwarka Leela. But nevertheless, his enemies, who were his enemies at that time when Krishna left the battlefield? Jarasandha. He was calling him ill names after him. Oh, you're a coward, you're running away from the battlefield. But Krishna didn't care, he just went on. And of course, then you know the story of King Muchukunda and all that, and then eventually he transferred his entire all his kingdom and the citizens to Dwarka overnight. He just had them transferred by his mystic potency. So he didn't mind, okay, that if he was called Ranchod, but as far as devotees are concerned, we glorify him as Ranchod. But if anybody else is Ranchod, he is condemned. Ran means a battlefield, Chod means to leave and go away. So he's not attached to his reputation. Another thing that would pinch our sense of dignity and our reputation is if we were told that we don't keep our word, we are liars. Yes, that also hurts very much. So Krishna had taken a vow that he would not lift a weapon in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. But because of his clever diplomacy, Bhishma was deprived of the 5 arrows with which he had promised he would kill the Pandavas. And because by yukti means trickery, by trickery, through Arjuna, Krishna managed to take away those 5 arrows of Bhishma, and Bhishma, being a great devotee, understood, okay, so this is Krishna's doing. So Krishna, you made me break my promise. I promised to Duryodhana, because Duryodhana was always doubting Bhishma. Bhishma, you are very partial to the Pandavas. You are the most powerful warrior on the battlefield. If you really fought with your full might, you would finish the entire army and the 5 Pandavas in a single day. But days are passing by and they're still alive. So you're actually being dishonest. You have a soft corner for the Pandavas. And every day Duryodhana would taunt Bhishma like this. And this struck Bhishma's heart like sharp arrows, more than the physical arrows that would strike his body in the battlefield. So then finally he was so frustrated with the taunts of Duryodhana that he promised, okay, I promise you Duryodhana, tomorrow I will kill all the 5 Pandavas with these 5 arrows. And Duryodhana, being very cunning, he took those 5 arrows. He said, give them to me for safekeeping, I'll give them to you tomorrow morning. So Bhishma kept them with Duryodhana. And Krishna understood. He said, Arjuna, you remember many years ago, you rescued them from a battle with the Gandharvas. The Chitraratha Gandharva had defeated them and held them captive. And you fought bravely and you rescued them. And he offered you a boon and you said you will ask for it later. So this is the time. Go to Duryodhana and ask him for those 5 arrows. So then Arjuna went. You know, the curious thing about how battles took place in those days, from dawn to dusk they would fight, and after dusk they were friends. They would go into each other's tents and they would eat, share food together, and so on and so forth. So these were the codes of Kshatriya conduct. So Arjuna walked into Duryodhana's tent. Duryodhana said, "So Arjuna, what do you want? It seems like you want something. So do you want the whole kingdom? What do you want? I'll give it to you." Duryodhana was at his generous best that evening. And he remembered, he had this vow, yes. So even someone like Duryodhana was true to his vow, yes. So Arjuna said, "No, I don't want the kingdom. I want those 5 arrows." And Duryodhana said, "Oh yes, I can understand. Who has done this? I know who has done this." And then Bhishma understood what had happened. And Bhishma said, "So Krishna, you have done this to me? You have made me break my vow? So tomorrow I'll be known as a liar? So I'm going to make you break your vow. I promise you this. I will fight so ferociously tomorrow that you will break your vow. You will have to lift a weapon." So Bhishma fought so fiercely the next day that Arjuna just couldn't cope with the barrage of arrows that Bhishma was unleashing on him. It was like a typhoon, a cyclone. He was tearing through the army. And then the arrow, Arjuna's chariot got stuck. And Bhishma came there. Actually, Bhishma's chariot got stuck. Arjuna's chariot got stuck. And Bhishma was there. And then Bhishma was there in front of Krishna. And then Krishna actually lifted the chariot wheel. And he came towards Bhishma in an aggressive way, as if to throw that wheel on Bhishma, to use it like a weapon. So he broke his vow, because he used the chariot wheel as a weapon. The chariot wheel is generally not a weapon, it's just a wheel. But you can use it as a weapon. So Bhishma saw that and he was happy. "Okay, I have made you break your vow, but I'm your eternal servant." So he put down his weapon and said, "Yes, my dear Lord, you can kill me. I'm yours." So Krishna was not attached to his own reputation, that people would say he broke his vow, he's a liar. What was more important for him was the love for his devotee Arjuna. He's Bhakta Vatsala. So Satyavadi means one who is truthful, and Bhakta Vatsala means one who is very affectionate to his devotees. Of these two, Bhakta Vatsalya, the quality of being affectionate to his devotees, is more powerful. So therefore he said, "Never mind that I'll be defamed as a liar from time to come now, but I will not let my devotee suffer." So he was willing to get a bad name. He was renounced even from a bad name, bad reputation. Similarly, when Bhima, Arjuna and Krishna went to kill Jarasandha, it was Krishna's plan. He killed Jarasandha actually through his agency, but Bhima was the one who physically killed him. And he gave Bhima the credit for killing Jarasandha, because Krishna was the one who was diplomatic and he gave him an indication of how he should kill Jarasandha. So he gave him the credit. He was not concerned about his reputation. He is renounced, completely unmoved by fame and infamy. What to speak of being renounced from physical things and wealth and opulence and the pleasures of this world, etc. But to be renounced from name and fame, that is even more difficult. One time when Krishna was in Vrindavan with the gopis, he called them and said, "You know the great sage, there's a sage called Durvasa who's on the other side of the Yamuna. Not the same Durvasa in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam who had that interaction, run-in with Maharaj Ambarish. This is another Durvasa." So Krishna said, you know, there's this great sage called Durvasa on the other side of the Yamuna. So please go and make a nice meal for him and go and feed it to him. So the gopis were very happy, and they created a wonderful meal of so many hundreds of nice items and delicious items. So they said, but now somehow the river is in spate and there's no boatman in sight. So Krishna, how do we cross the river and go there? So, you know, Krishna said, okay, I have a simple way. Chant one mantra and the river will part. The waters will part and you can walk through. So they said, all right, tell us the mantra. He said, the mantra is Krishna Nitya Brahmachari. Nitya means always. So the gopi said, what? Just after having danced Rasa Leela and stolen our clothes and all sorts of things, and you say, Nitya, always a brahmachari? He said, rubbish. Well, then you can't get across the river. So, well, you have to chant this mantra, but you must do it with faith. How can we have faith after we know all your exploits? We know your true nature. We know who you are. What kind of brahmachari you are, we know very well. Too bad, then you can't cross and you'll get the curse of that great rishi and you'll be deprived of the opportunity to serve a great sage like him. So the gopis became very fearful. So, oh, this opportunity to serve a great saint. So they said, all right. And maybe this Krishna is something exceptional. Maybe he is a brahmachari, who knows? You know? So anyway, so they started chanting Krishna Nitya Brahmachari, Krishna Nitya Brahmachari. And lo and behold, what happened? The Yamuna water separated. And the gopis walked through peace happily. They went to the other side with all the delicious foodstuffs they had cooked, and they fed Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni ate everything. It was a feast for 100 people. And he ate everything, you know. And then he blessed the gopis. I'm very happy with you because you've served me so nicely. And the gopis were very pleased to receive such blessings. May you have very nice husbands and everything. You'll have the best husband in the world, each of you. Of course, that was true. Krishna. So then they were happy, but they had to go back. And then they said, oh Durvasa Muni, now how will we cross the river? Because the river is in spate. Oh, never mind, just chant one mantra. So what's that mantra? Durvasa Nitya Upavasi. Upavas, you know the word for fast means upavas. Yes? Upavas. You know, tomorrow is that exciting day, yes? I'm sure we've all been looking forward to it eagerly for the whole year. When will that day come? Yes, that day is coming tomorrow. That's called an upavas. So when you fast, you say upavas. And gopis were thinking in their minds, what? He's just eaten a huge feast meant for 100 people, and he's saying Durvasa Nitya Upavasi. He's always fasting. What on earth does that mean? But they didn't want to commit any offense. So, and they said maybe he has some mystic power or something. Anyway, anyone who can eat meal for 100 people must have some mystic power. So then they went to the bank of the Yamuna and started chanting Durvasa Nitya Upavasi, Durvasa Nitya Upavasi. And lo and behold, what happened? The river separated, the waters split apart, and the gopis were able to walk through very easily and reach the other side. And they came to Krishna and said, Krishna, what's going on? What is all this about these mantras? You know, Nitya Brahmachari, Nitya Upavasi, you know, it just doesn't make sense. So he says, you know, the word Brahmachari means one who's situated on the spiritual platform. I am always situated on the spiritual platform. All my pastimes are transcendental. There is no touch of the material energy in any of my activities, thoughts or words. Therefore, Brahma Acharati, Brahma means spirit. So I'm always on the spiritual platform and I'm completely renounced, I'm completely detached. And actually that was a fact, that even though the queens in Dwarka, for example, was so attached to Krishna, but Krishna was detached. They were the most beautiful women in the whole universe. And they were serving him with all devotion, but they could not bind Krishna. That was his renunciation, that was his detachment from the world. Similarly, when it came to the gopis, of course he's more attached to the gopis than to the queens of Dwarka. But even then, when he saw, just before the gopi gate begins, we see the gopis were getting a little proud that they had come so close to Krishna and they were having pastimes with him. So Krishna wanted to teach them a lesson. So he disappeared. He was detached. And they went searching for him, and that's when they sung this Gopi Gita. So Krishna said, well, actually, even my pastimes with all of you is always on the spiritual platform. So it is not material. When we talk of renunciation, we speak of renunciation from the material. So Krishna's pastimes with the gopis cannot be compared with the activities that happen between ordinary men and women of this world. Krishna's dealings with the gopis are completely transcendental. Krishna's body is transcendental. The gopis' bodies are transcendental. It only appears like that. And those people who are unacquainted with the science of devotional service, who are unacquainted with Krishna Tattva, Bhagavat Tattva, the truth of Bhagavan or Krishna, they mistakenly superimpose their ideas upon Krishna. So they think that because in this world, whenever we see a man and woman interacting, it is a material thing, it comes from the mode of passion, and therefore, when Krishna interacts with the gopis, it must also be the same thing. And Prabhupada narrated the story. One time there was a cow in a Goshala, and the barn, the Goshala, caught fire. And this cow, she ran for her life. She managed to escape. But there was a great psychological trauma in the mind of that cow. So after that, wherever she saw red color, she thought it was fire and she fled from there. So similarly, Prabhupada said, because when we see men and women in this world, that's all we associate that with, the relationship between men and women. So we think, just because Krishna seems like a man and the gopis seem like a woman of this world, like women of this world, so therefore it must be the same. This is red in color, that must also be red. But there's a big difference. So similarly, Krishna's Rasa Leela is not like that. There's no sense of material attachment there. So he's completely renounced, he's completely detached from everything. So this is the perfection of renunciation. So Krishna has all these 6 opulences in perfection. So what are those 6 opulences? Number 1, wealth. Number 2, strength or power. Number 3, fame. Number 3. Number 4, beauty. Number 5, knowledge. And number 6, renunciation. And because Krishna has all these 6 in completeness, unlimitedly, inconceivably, therefore he is called Bhagavan, one who possesses all opulences, and therefore he becomes all attractive. If someone has a lot of wealth, he becomes very attractive to people. Someone has a lot of intelligence or knowledge, he becomes very attractive to people. People praise that person. A person is very famous, or a person is very physically strong, or even if a person is very beautiful or even renounced, a person becomes famous because of renunciation even. So one becomes attractive because one has a little bit even, or one or more of these 6 opulences. So because Krishna has these 6 opulences in unlimited quantity, therefore the attraction is unlimited also. Therefore the word Krishna, one who is unlimitedly attractive. This is Bhagavan. And this is the God we want to love. And the perfection of life is to become attracted to Him. So what is it that prevents us from becoming attracted to the all-attractive? Who has the power to stop us from getting attracted to the all-attractive? It's only Krishna. No one else has the power. And that is because of his Maya Shakti. Daivihi Isha Gunamai Mama Maya Duratyaya. So that is Devi Shakti, it is divine energy. Because Maya is Krishna's divine energy, that is why Maya is able to prevent us from becoming attracted to Krishna. Otherwise there is no way we can resist Krishna's attraction. So the way to get out of the clutches of Maya and develop our attraction for Krishna is to do what we are doing, to sit in the association of devotees and to keep on hearing and chanting about Krishna. Then gradually the attraction will increase. Then we will perfect our life. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you very much. Any questions or comments? Yes.
Maharaj, thank you very much. It was such a beautiful class, and I've been meaning to hear this from you for a long time. Maharaj, when we have love in our heart, the love is the true nature of the soul, and that's why we think that love comes from that, because we have got the soul is attracted to Krishna automatically. Same thing when we try to serve, the eternal nature is to serve. Maharaj, where does this tendency of human beings to get attracted to have the pride, adoration, fame comes in a natural way? Is that also in some way naturally built in that soul?
No. Qualities come with association. We imbibe the quality of that with which we associate. Let's take an extreme example of, let's say, an alcoholic, right? Alcohol is in the mode of ignorance. So when the alcoholic associates with alcohol regularly, intensely, then he acquires the qualities of that. So when we associate with the material energy, we get those qualities, either sattva, rajas, tamas. So the jiva is originally pure, is always pure. But when the jiva contacts material nature, it's covered over. It's covered over by association, right? That's how the jiva acquires all these different qualities. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam paropi manute nartham yat kritam chapi padyate. So the Srimad Bhagavatam says that the spirit soul is actually transcendental, para. But he imagines himself to be material, anartham, because of association, because of sammoha. Yaya sammohito jiva atmanam trigunatmakam. Because of being bewildered by Maya, the jiva imagines himself to be a product of the three modes of material nature. So because of having come under the clutches of Maya, the jiva doesn't acquire those qualities. Jiva is always the jiva, but is covered over by these qualities, and then the jiva identifies himself with those qualities and thinks, this is me. That is how it comes about. So all we have to do is uncover or remove that covering. That's all. And the original quality of the soul will then emerge. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabunoy Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Karaye Udaye. So, the original quality of the soul, that is pure love for Krishna, is there in the heart. And it's in a dormant state. And by hearing and chanting about the Lord and performing devotional service, that will be invoked again. That's all. Yes, Sanjay, you had a question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Firstly, it's so nice to see you again.
Thank you.
Hopefully it will be a longer spell than
Yes.
has been in the past. My question arose from what you mentioned in the middle about Lord Shiva.
Yes.
You mentioned that he doesn't die.
Yes.
Question that arose was that, okay, I'm familiar with the explanations about the Devi Devatas or the demigods and so on. But there seems to be some different relationship with Lord Shiva and Krishna and Supreme Personality. Can you throw some more light on this, please?
Okay, good question. The question is, in the course of the lecture, I mentioned that Shiva does not die. And whereas we hear about the demigods, Shiva is considered one of the demigods, but we hear about the demigods that they do die and we consider them at a certain level. So is Shiva something different, is something unique? That's the question, right? Yes, indeed, he's unique. Shiva is not like any of the other demigods. All the other demigods have to die, but Shiva will never die. Shiva is, of course, it's a big topic. It's a theme in itself. But Shiva is very exalted. He is almost God. Not quite God, but almost God. He's almost there. We all know the difference between yogurt and milk, right? If Krishna is milk or Vishnu is milk, Shiva is yogurt. Same as milk, but just with a difference, because of contact with some acidic element. Similarly, because Vishnu takes on a form that contacts material nature, that form of Vishnu now assumes or acquires a different ontological status. Sorry for using a big word. Ontological status means that he is a different tattva, he is a different grade of existence. So he's called Shiva Tattva. He's not Vishnu Tattva. But he's neither Jiva Tattva. He's not the soul either. Brahma is generally a Jiva. Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all Jivas. We are Jivas. But Shiva is not a Jiva. He's in a category of his own, unique, special category, all by himself. So he's very exceptional. Mysterious personality. Glorious personality. Many times devotees also don't understand him. So that's Lord Shiva. Maybe on Shivaratri or something there should be some discussion on Shiva here. Yes.
Thank you very much for your very nice class. It's always very sweet to hear you.
Thank you.
Of all the 6 qualities, and the five qualities everyone wants to have in the material world. So if you explain to everyone that you want to be wealthy, famous, beautiful, strong, or knowledgeable, everyone wants that. But renunciation is
Nobody wants.
How do you kind of, if you want to explain this to someone who is not, let's say, Krishna conscious?
Yes. Okay, good question. So the question is, of all these 6 opulences, everybody generally wants the first 5, but they don't want the last one, which is renunciation. So how should we respond to that? Yes, but people of the world have it. They are very big renouncers. You know why? They have given up the greatest thing. They have given up Krishna. They have renounced Krishna, renounced the Supreme Absolute Truth. When I became a brahmachari, somebody told me, "Oh my God, you renounced so much." I said, "No, we only renounced, this renunciation is a misnomer. Because you can only renounce something that belongs to you. If I come to your house and say, I renounce this refrigerator, I renounce this car, yes? You're not going to be very pleased with that. It doesn't make sense. Yes? So nothing belongs to me, everything is the property of Krishna. So when I say I have renounced this, I have renounced that, it's a fallacy. So renunciation as a concept at a philosophical level is a fallacy because nothing belongs to me that I can renounce it. But what I can renounce is a false conception that this is mine. That is renunciation. And then when I get rid of that false conception that this is mine, then I cut the connection with it. So then I told them, I've just given up a few things, but you've given up everything. Because Krishna, the Lord, is everything. He's the origin of everything. So you're renouncing much more than I am. Yes? So materialistic people are great renouncers because they've renounced the spiritual world, they've renounced the absolute truth. But you see, ultimately, this is bhogatyag, bhogatyag. We will be forced to renounce. In different times, we lose our wealth. When old age comes, we lose our health. Yes? We are forced by the laws of nature to renounce things that we have, things that we want. So even if we don't want renunciation, renunciation will be forced upon us by the stringent laws of material nature. Te pisha tantrayam urudamne baddhaha. The stringent laws of material nature tie us very tightly. So better to be renounced willingly and voluntarily for the right purpose, for Krishna's sake, than to be forced renunciants and suffer. If we voluntarily renounce, then we are happy, if that renunciation is in connection with Krishna. But if we don't do that, then the forced renunciation will be very painful. Yes? Okay, any other question or comments? Okay, so Sundarananda Prabhu, Kirti Radhika Mataji, Neha and Shyam Gopal, thank you for your hospitality in hosting us all here today. And to all the devotees of assembled here, thank you once again for coming here on a Saturday evening. And shall we have 5 minutes of Kirtan? Just some time? Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kartal, can I have? Thank you. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki
Jai.
There was just one point I forgot to mention in that little story, Krishna Nitya Brahmachari. Krishna gave the explanation for that. But what was the explanation for Durvasa Nitya Upavasi? That Durvasa is always fasting. Krishna explains the real meaning of Upavas. Upa means near. Vas means to reside. So the actual meaning of Upavas is not just physical fasting from food, which is what the general connotation that it has acquired, but the actual meaning of Upavas is to reside close to the Lord. So he said, because Durvasa always resides close to me, so he's Upavasi, he's Nitya Upavasi. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Rasamrita Swami ki Jai.